6:36 in the morning. I forced myself to pee a second time because I just want to know. You convince yourself one day and then you talk yourself out of it another day. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. I don't see anything. I don't think so. But you know, sometimes it's just good to know. Yeah. It's like you can see the hint of the ghost of where the line should be. I feel like I actually do see a line. It's been like 30 seconds and I swear I see a line, like, holy f. There's a line. I just wanted to know before turkey trot so I wasn't like schlepping barricades around. There's definitely a second line. Oh my god, how am I gonna tell Michael? Like, do I tell him before turkey trot? Oh my god, there's a second line. Okay, I gotta get another one. Yeah, definitely not. It like went across and I was like, I don't see anything. Oh my god, there's definitely something there. Oh yeah, you can definitely see that. Look at it. What day is it? I think it's day 26. No, day 25, day 24. Day 25 of my cycle. It's so funny because it was going across and I was like, oh, my stupid mind, it's playing tricks on me. Like, I know I see a hint of a line where it should be. And that one has a line too.
Oh, guys. This is the craziest thing to be finally making this video. Like, I have notes written down, but my mind is just all over the place. As I was getting ready and like setting up to film, it's crazy. But as you can tell from the clip that I played, I am pregnant, and it's wild to say those words. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be an adult. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be married. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be pregnant. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be having kids, but I am. I'm 27. There's no right or wrong age to have kids. But anyways, I'm pregnant, and I don't know where to necessarily start with this video. There's so much I want to say that I know will never fit into one video. So I just want to start by like going back in time and just kind of telling the story of it. So Michael and I have always known that we wanted kids. Like, we talked about it from pretty early on in the relationship. We both knew how the other one felt. I feel like that's a good thing to understand about your partner. Let's jump forward to the very start of 2017. We were coming home from a trip to Bali. I could be completely remembering this wrong, and I should have looked back in journals to see if it was here, but I'm pretty sure it was coming back from this trip when Michael brought up the subject, the actual practical timeline of everything, of, okay, let's actually think about this. Let's think about when we want to have kids and what that means about when we should start trying. And so we decided 2018 was a great year to have a kid. We felt like we would be in a place in life where that would work out well. Michael is very partial to October, to a fall baby. He is an October baby himself, but also just with his job, his off season starts in the fall and goes through the winter, that he doesn't have races. But we decided, okay, fall would be a good time to have a baby, which meant if we were going to try for an October baby, we had to get pregnant in January of 2018. I think we had a whole year until we were going to start trying. In November of 2017, 3 months before we were going to start trying, I started taking prenatals, started doing what I felt I could at that point to prepare my body and like my mind and everything to get pregnant and to be pregnant. And we were very naive going into all of this, and I think a lot of people are. I fully had the expectation of getting pregnant right away. I convinced myself that it was going to be easy. It's not. So January came and January went and I got my period, and we're like, what? Like, we were supposed to have an October baby. I was supposed to be pregnant right now. And we were like really upset that first month. February came and went. March came and went. April came and went. And like, I was not getting pregnant. And it was such just a weird thing. Like, I know people get pregnant on their first month of trying. I know people get pregnant right away in the first 3 months or whatever. And I was just like, this is rubbish. Like, I should be pregnant by now. Like, I know what's going on. And like, how is this not working out? Like, I felt like I'd been bamboozled and led astray all my life, like thinking I was this super fertile person that like, even if a boy ever looked at me, I was gonna get pregnant. Doesn't happen that way. So then finally in May, at the end of May, right after my birthday actually, I got pregnant. Well, I found out I was pregnant right around my birthday. I booked in for my first appointment when I was going to be 9 weeks pregnant. The appointment went great. Like as we were leaving, it seemed, and I'm sure it wasn't that, but like in my memory, it was like we were, you know, practically walking out the door and she's like, oh, do you want an ultrasound? And we kind of looked at each other and like, yeah, of course we want an ultrasound. Like we'd love to see our baby. And I'm gonna kind of just like graze over this part pretty quickly, but I'm going to definitely talk about all of it more in depth because I think it's so very important. But long story short, went into the room for the ultrasound. We were like all chatty and happy. And anyways, we were pretty much blindsided when she went and did the ultrasound. And like, I knew right away that there was nothing there. Like, I knew what it was supposed to look like at that point because he looked at pictures, I'd been online and everything, and there was nothing there, and she's pretty quick to say it all. So anyways, it turns out that I had what's called a blighted ovum. And basically what that means is you are pregnant, your egg is fertilized, it implants, and stuff starts growing. And I think it's mostly, if not always, because of a chromosomal defect. The fetus either doesn't develop or stops developing at a certain point. And so all I could see on the ultrasound and all she pointed out to me was a gestational sac. So it was very clearly, she's like, this is your uterus, this is where uterus is, and this is a gestational sac, but as you can see, there's nothing in there. And she was great about it. And even though I was blindsided, I had literally just found out what a blighted ovum was. So in that sense, it was nice that I knew what I was looking at. Anyways, yeah, so we were devastated. Like, that was not what we expected at all. We were naive going into trying to get pregnant, and we were naive going into like being pregnant. I left and I had 3 choices that she gave me. I could either wait to miscarry naturally, I could take the pill to induce miscarriage, or I could go in and get a D&C. And after talking to a friend of Michael's who had had the same exact experience with a blighted ovum, actually twice, and did both the pill and a D&C, she highly recommended going with a D&C because she had such a terrible experience with the pill. And everyone's different, and there's people that have like fine experiences with the pill. Michael and I agreed that our goal at that point was just to get back to square one, where my cycle would be back to normal and we could start trying again. So we opted for a D&C, but it was another 2 weeks before I actually got the D&C. So I'm like wandering around, my body still thinks it's pregnant. I still have all those hormones and everything. I took a test the morning of my midwife appointment, and it was like glaring 2 lines positive, and I was like, wow, look at that, so pregnant. Like, I had to get a transvaginal ultrasound before I could get my D&C, and it was the most unpleasant part of the whole experience, I think. I mean, granted, finding out that you're miscarrying and you're not gonna have a baby is really upsetting. Physically wise, that was the most uncomfortable thing. The doctor that was doing my D&C was like, have someone go in there and look at some stuff, take some pictures, just so we can, you know, have our own look at it. And I was like, fine, whatever, like, I'll do it. And it was really unpleasant because she had like move that wand around so much to get pictures of both my ovaries, and it was just like, it was like a freaking ice cream scoop, and it was so uncomfortable. And you're like, it's not a pleasant position to be in anyways. But anyways, that was my least favorite part of the whole thing. And then I finally got my D&C booked for the very, very beginning of July. It went great. Like, I highly recommend it. I had some cramping, I had some bleeding afterwards, but I am so unbelievably grateful because 4 weeks later, my period came. And I was like, good job, body. Like, you got this. We can do this. Like, looking out for me, girl. I was told like it could take up to 6 weeks, but 4 weeks, my period came, and I think it was 27 days after my D&C. That was August at that point. So August came and went, September came and went, October came and went. I was like, man, that'd be cool to tell Michael like for his birthday that we were pregnant. Jump forward to the end of November. A few days before Thanksgiving, I woke up and decided to take a test, which is what the clip was that you guys saw. And obviously it came back positive. Really don't think I was expecting that. It was much more of a precautionary thing because we were putting on a race that week. I knew that there was a chance, but wasn't really like confident in it because I'd seen so many negative tests, got my period so many times, and just like not really had much luck. If there was something in there, I wanted to be a little bit easier on my body working the race because like I lift heavy things, and I think I like lift with my uterus, and so I didn't want to do that. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just do it, and then I'll see I'm not pregnant, and then I can stop thinking about it and worrying about it and just work the race. Lo and behold, I'm pregnant. And I was like, immediately, I was like, oh my God, like, when am I going to tell Michael? Because this was Tuesday, the race was on Thursday. I think any person, but I know Michael would want to be fully like present to like receive the news. And he was preoccupied, focused, and stressed on the race, rightfully so. And so I knew I didn't want to tell him before the race. And then just because of like Thanksgiving and everything and like having different stuff happening, I was like, I'm not going to be able to tell him until Saturday afternoon. I spent so much time like figuring out how I was going to tell him. I was like so worried about it. And it was like such a weird experience to be walking around for like 5 days or 4 days or whatever it was, knowing I was pregnant, but like knowing I couldn't tell anyone. It was just this like giant secret, and I was like, oh my God. But it was kind of cool. If you want to see a video of me telling Michael and us telling our families, I'm going to be putting that onto my second channel, which I'll link all of that down below. There was a lot of anxiety early on because I was spotting and I was just terrified that something was going to go wrong. So I called into my midwife clinic and they had me come in for blood tests, and that confirmed that my HCG levels were doubling, progesterone levels looked great, and so that was reassuring. But I know that that doesn't guarantee anything, and like nothing's, even at this point, nothing's guaranteed. But then they had me book in for an early scan at 5.5 weeks, and I went into that scan at the peak of my anxiety, terrified that something was going to go wrong. I was convinced that something was going to go wrong. So I went in there. The ultrasound technician was awesome. After putting in my last period and all of that, she was like, you know what, to be honest, I'd be surprised if we saw anything at this point. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And she was so nice. The gals at my clinic was so nice, and they let me just leave, just knowing that like I could call back in and like reschedule in a couple weeks. So I had to go over to the clinic and get a RhoGAM shot because I'm Rh negative and I was spotting, and so they're just precautionary thing in case I did miscarry. Thankfully, that afternoon, I just stopped spotting, and I have not spotted since. And like that was really a turning point. Not getting the scan and then stopping the spotting was a turning point in like my anxiety level and just my confidence in the whole situation. It was just a real game changer, and I'm just very, very thankful for that. So I booked back in for a scan at the end of December, right before Christmas, and I was a day shy of 8 weeks at that point. Lo and behold, the scan went great. Baby was there. They measured the heartbeat with waves, and that was all okay. Like you could see the heartbeat, like the heart fluttering, and it was just such an amazing experience because after the summer, my new goalpost had moved to seeing my baby on a scan, and so it was just amazing to see that. I had my first actual midwife appointment at 12 weeks when we got back from Phoenix. The midwife clinic that I'm going to, I just absolutely love. It was kind of a happy medium for what I wanted and what Michael wanted. Literally everyone I've come into contact there, all of the nurses, midwives, like receptionists, everyone are the most darling people, and I'm so excited to be going there. And the midwife I had for that appointment was delightful. I love her. Like, I hope I get her. It was a really great appointment because we had already seen our baby. We already knew things were going okay. I'd stopped spotting, like I felt fine, I felt pregnant. And so she's doing like the physical exam, and at one point she says something like, you have a very full uterus, or your uterus is really full right now, like I like to see that. And Michael is like, what's that mean? And I was like, my uterus is full, Michael, meaning there's like a baby and a placenta and like all that stuff in there. Like, he's a hoot and a half. We got to hear the baby's heartbeat for the first time. So she was getting ready to do it, and she was like, just so you know, sometimes it takes me a minute to find it, but don't like worry if I can't find it right away. And it was like right when she put it onto my stomach, it was like like it was right there, and it was just so surreal and bizarre and amazing. Everything's going great. Once this video goes out, I'll be 14 weeks. I am due August 3rd, which is nuts, and it'll be here before you know it. Like it's already 6 months away. I know nothing is guaranteed. I know things still go wrong after the first trimester, but I'm so happy to be entering into my second trimester. First trimester was fine. My biggest complaint though, the level of exhaustion I felt, and due to that lack of like motivation and focus, so unlike who I am so just like jazzed and peppy about life and about work and everything. I felt like a potato or a slug. I was definitely not myself, and it was very frustrating. Mild morning sickness and nausea. I never threw up. All in all, it was fine. Like my biggest complaint was just like how tired I felt, and I still get bouts of that now. But I hear that you get a lot of energy with the second trimester and you just feel more like yourself. That's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm also excited for like my bump to go like past the point of people are like, has she just not pooped in a week? Like that, I just feel like I look bloated. And my creative wheels have already been like spinning for months and months and months. It took us 11 months the whole time. Like that's all I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't. Like I had to make content about other things. And so I have a giant list of topics that I want to make videos and blog posts about. If there's any specific things you want to see me talk about dealing with like pregnancy or any of that, let me know down below. I want to also do a pregnancy Q&A because I feel like people just always have a lot of questions, and so you can also ask those down below, and I'll be doing that later this month. And also I just want to say to all the women and couples out there who are struggling, maybe have had a miscarriage, my heart goes out to you. I feel like I just got a small taste of that. It is not guaranteed that I'm going to have a baby in 6 months. Just know that like I've been thinking about you a lot throughout this process. My heart feels for you. And so if you're watching this and you're upset or devastated because you know it's just another person announcing their pregnancy, your heart hurts because it's not you, like I get that. Never want it to come off as like me rubbing it in people's face. Just know that like throughout all of this, I'm thinking of you. Your girl is pregnant. Your girl is harvesting life. Stuff's happening down here and all around me. I'm so thrilled to finally be able to talk about it because it is all I've been thinking about and all I've wanted to talk about for the past year basically. Bump time. Don't mind my sweatpants because literally like waistbands suck. He's little and it's like early in the day, so I say he meaning my stomach. I don't know what we're having obviously. But yeah, that's what we've got going on, and it's crazy because like I don't look that big, but like I can't even suck into where my stomach used to be. There's a baby on board, and there's definitely like when I'm wearing tight things, like you can see something's there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you want to see more like pregnancy related videos, give it a thumbs up. Comment your questions and content ideas you want to see down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah!